Most people who know me know that I am very obsessive about things like efficiency and workflow. If you've been on this channel, you probably saw that last week I released a video about my orchestral template, this massive template. And I truly believe in the power of efficiency. Primarily, I believe in efficiency because I think at its best, efficiency is a tool to give us the time to do the things that we really care about the most. And in my case, it's composing. I'd rather make a template that enables me to create as quickly as possible than spend 2 hours with every project loading in old instruments, routing in reverbs, doing all the boring stuff that comes with being a creative. However, there's also a common pitfall that comes with this process. As we improve our efficiency, oftentimes we get much faster at what we do. I started to fall into this trap of thinking, well, I have all this time that I didn't have before. I must not be working hard enough. I think there's a sense of guilt that a lot of industrious people feel, people who are naturally inclined to be creating and productive. We kind of judge ourselves based on our productivity, and if we're not creating things, we can tend to feel bad about ourselves in some ways. One of the things I did on my downtime during this quarantine was I started reading, and one of the first books that I read was Profit First, a book about running a successful business, whether you're a single individual or a company. It's a great book, it's a fun read, and this was the book where I first learned of the term Parkinsons Law. Now to paraphrase, Parkinsons Law essentially means that we will spend the time that we are given. Now in Profit First, Mike Michalowicz talks about how Parkinson's Law can be demonstrated with a tube of toothpaste. When we first buy toothpaste, a lot of us are just carelessly just putting these giant globs of toothpaste. Some falls in the sink, we don't really care, we use it. And then we get to the end of the tube, and suddenly we're squeezing out every little drop, these little toothpick-sized gobs of toothpaste that we're putting on our toothbrush. Now, why would we do that? Why would we spend so much time extracting such a little amount at the end and being so careless in the beginning? Now that's Parkinson's Law in action. And as a creative, this is extremely relevant. If we're given 3 months to work on a project, a film score, a painting, a new business idea, we'll take those 3 months. If we have 1 day to turn something around, many of us will turn it around in a day. Now, after finishing this book, I went and picked up The 4-Hour Workweek by Tim Ferriss. This is a legendary book and has some similarities and differences to the Profit First book. But funny enough, Parkinson's Law showed up in this book as well. According to Tim Ferriss, Parkinson's Law dictates that a task will swell in importance and complexity in relation to the time allotted for its completion. The end product of the shorter deadline is almost inevitably of equal or higher quality due to greater focus. We can't constantly fall into the trap of thinking that more time means better quality. There are plenty of examples of music written by songwriters and classical composers alike that were written in absurdly quick amounts of time. One example that comes to my head is Shostakovich's 8th String Quartet. It's one of the most famous pieces of chamber music ever written, and it was written in 3 days. That's 5 movements in 3 days, 20 minutes of music in 3 days. How did he do it? Number one, he's a genius. But number two, he focused on output. There's plenty other examples out there of people who created great works of art in very short amounts of time. I think it's wrong to assume that every masterpiece takes years and years and deep planning. Sometimes that's true, but in many cases, as creatives, we need a lot less time than we think we do. A certain amount of time is enough to enable us to get something done and to spark our creativity and get our ideas. And then after a while, we start going back and micromanaging and picking and pulling things apart. As my buddy Frank says, we're not making it better, we're just changing it. So what Parkinson's Law has made me realize is that these time constraints are the most effective form of creating productivity, drive, motivation, and preventing me from experiencing burnout. I've noticed that when I give myself tighter deadlines to get projects done, number one, I have more free time, and number two, they sound better. All of the energy, the initial excitement you have about this project, you're funneling all that energy in immediately, not just letting it sit and gestate and eventually burn out. So if you're a creative like me, give Parkinson's Law a try. Next time you get a project or a cool idea, set a deadline on it, and set a deadline that scares you just enough into taking action now. Remember, more time doesn't automatically equal a better result. It's focus that creates the best results. That's all for now. I know this is kind of a different video, but I thought I'd share what I've been learning during this quarantine. If you enjoyed this, leave a like, subscribe for more content, and I will see you in the next video.